We're talking toughest parts of the SEC football schedules you wanted to talk about, LT. You got 9 of them. So let's jump into that. Which one was the most intriguing for you?
Well, so I think
Give me a team.
I've got 3 teams where in the 3-game stretch are going to be underdogs in all 3 games.
Okay.
And that's kind of hard to do.
Let's do one at a time. Pick one out.
I'll do the number 3 most difficult 3-game stretch to me, and it's Kentucky that's got it.
All right. Forster will pull up the Kentucky schedule for us. So it's Kentucky in the 3-game stretch. I'm going to say, you got a couple of choices there.
You do.
You can go Georgia to Tennessee, or you could go Tennessee to Alabama.
Yeah, I think I'd go Tennessee to Alabama because it involves a road game at State, and historically Kentucky is not good against Tennessee.
Yep, I'm going Tennessee to Alabama. They're going to be underdogs in all 3 of those games.
But Dunaway's right. I mean, there's a bye week in there. They should beat Missouri, but at Georgia and hosting Tennessee, that's a tough stretch too. Even with Missouri in there.
I mean, Georgia to Tennessee, Tennessee to Alabama, those are about the same to me, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, the difference is 1 and 2 or 0 and 3.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I mean, Missouri, Mississippi State to me is, Tennessee's in either one of that, either the back end or the front end. So to me, it's either the Tennessee or the Mississippi State game. Which do you think's tougher?
But if you just expanded Dunaway from Georgia through South Carolina, that's a brutal stretch of football for them. Yeah. At Georgia, host Missouri, bye week, host Tennessee, at State, host Alabama, at South Carolina. I mean, every single one of those games are eminently losable for them.
And Louisville's going to be a much better football team
Probably
this
so,
year with
under
Jeff Brom.
Yeah.
I really thought Kentucky could be a dark horse 9-win team with what they had on paper.
Tough schedule.
Yeah,
their schedule is too tough for them to have 9 wins.
Yep. They're going to get off to a good start, though. It is a crap early schedule for them, but boy, it gets real quick.
Give me your second best.
Yeah, my second most difficult 3-game stretch in the SEC this year, I believe, is Mississippi State.
You can almost find a difficult one with State.
Here is State right here.
LSU at South Carolina, Alabama.
That's it.
Yeah,
they're going to be underdogs in all 3 of those.
Yep, I mean you can make that case right there. LSU, South Carolina, Alabama.
And I don't think they win any of those games.
Probably not. I mean their post bye week's tough too. Because even they're at a conference post bye week, Southern Miss, and it's like Southern Miss's Super Bowl.
But see, they've got one of those sneaky out of conference schedules. If you catch, Arizona's improving. Now that's a return game from Mississippi State going out there last year, so it's in Starkville. But Western Michigan every so often could be a dangerous little MAC team.
Well, and you catch them
that could be a tricky out of conference schedule.
And look where you get them after Alabama, right?
Yeah. And you know who Western Michigan's coach is?
It is a guy we like to call Lance Taylor.
It is.
Yep. First-year coach.
Very former Alabama player.
Yeah. So interesting there for Mississippi State. The toughest 3-game stretch from LT right after we get told about our friends right there at Bromberg's. Our friends at Bromberg's. I mean, we've been talking about graduations gifts, Mother's Day gifts. You got opportunities for wedding gifts. I got a lot of weddings coming up this summer. A lot of people do. Bromberg's is the answer to everything, right?
Yeah, Bromberg's at Mountain Brook and the Summit invite you to discover David Yurman's new spring collections inspired by the beauty of the natural world. David Yurman was founded in New York City by 2 artists, David, a sculptor, and his wife, Sybil, a partner. Over 40 years later, the Yurmans and their son, Evan, continue to redefine American luxury jewelry, combining innovative technology, fine craftsmanship, and exquisite artistry. Visit Bromberg's today to find sculptural pieces from David Yurman's spring collections. Again, you can also go online, brombergs.com.
All right, our friends at Bromberg's right there. You can't beat them. The toughest SEC football schedule 3-game stretch is?
There's a good percentage of our audience that's not going to want to hear this, but it is from the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, it seems like every year we can find one from Auburn, Lance.
Here's the Auburn graphic here. Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU looks tough as hell.
Yep, got a bye week in there, but I think that's going to be it.
That's it. You're going to be underdogs in all 3 of those games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Auburn should start 3-0, but, buddy, once you get off that 3-0 start, it is unrelenting just about from there. I mean, you do have a trip to Vanderbilt mixed in and New Mexico State, but, man, after that 3-0 start for Auburn, but it's landmine after landmine.
They break it down into 4 3-line columns, unbeaten on the top, then the tough one we're talking about. I think they're unbeaten on number 3 and can win 2 of 3 on the bottom with Alabama at home. I mean, the season will be decided on that 3-game stretch on how good the season will be. But like that 1 level, that 3 level, I think they're 6-0 there.
That 2 level's tough.
That
Two level is tough. But if you still won there and you beat New Mexico State and Arkansas, that's a 9-win season.
Oh, yeah, it could be a special season.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're improving. So that's the toughest 3-game stretch. Who is next on your list that you found interesting?
I would go Florida next. You guys pull Florida.
Yeah,
Forster
man.
back there.
I got
And you check out these and see if you guys can guess.
It's almost always going to include Georgia in the cocktail party.
Yeah, I'd go Georgia, Arkansas, LSU.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, that's it.
And LSU's on the road. Georgia is obviously neutral site, but it's going to feel like a Georgia home game.
And Florida could be favored against Arkansas. It just depends on, how they're playing before that game and how Arkansas is playing. But that is a difficult 3-game stretch.
Yeah, and just guessing, loss at Utah, loss to Tennessee. Kentucky's a coin flip game for me. South Carolina's a coin flip game. Lost to Georgia. Arkansas's a coin flip. Lost to LSU. Missouri's a coin flip, and Florida State's a loss. I mean, that could be a disastrous season for Billy Napier, and I thought he was a good hire, and I would be patient with Billy Napier, but where his roster is, where his quarterback situation is for this year and that schedule, it could be a disastrous year.
Well, speaking of disaster, I think they're going to be improved this year, and I normally don't say this about this team, but Texas A&M to me has got the 5th most difficult 3-game stretch.
All right, the Texas A&M schedule, really quick by Forster there. Forster does not know the order we're going in.
Wow.
It's really good.
He's reading Lance's mind? Is that what's happening here? I'm going to say for Texas A&M.
I'm going to say it's Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is neutral site.
All
If
right.
South Carolina were on the road, I might go the other route, but I think I would agree with you, Lance. Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, because Tennessee's on the road.
What is yours?
I went Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that.
Yeah,
Well, South Carolina's at Kyle Field. That was the only reason I went Arkansas.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Alabama, Tennessee, and you pick whichever one's on the other side of that. I mean, but look at that schedule with Miami is on the road, and Miami's, this is in my gym class heroes. In that game, both of those coaches are grasping for anything positive, right? So one of them is going to lose.
Well, and the difference is Cristobal's only in year 2. Yeah. And it's like they gave everything in the world. Well, much like A&M did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Miami had every opportunity in the world to win that game last year in Kyle Field.
But then after ULM, Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Ole Miss, that stretch there, I mean, I know they'll win some of them, maybe even win more of them than they lose. But I can close my eyes and see them losing every one of those games.
I mean, you're going to have an undefeated Auburn team, and, if some of these pieces that they've hit in the transfer portal, and there are a lot of them, click right, I mean, that could be a big, big, big early win for Hugh Freeze. And, boy, if Hugh Freeze wins that game on the road in Kyle Field, the Wolves are at the door, man, for Petrino. Or, excuse me, for both of them, but for Jimbo Fisher.
Give me another one, LT.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Don't say Arkansas, by the way, because we don't have that graphic.
Well,
Let's drop them off the list.
I'm holding something, but
Okay.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
That's a tough one here. I guess I would go at Georgia, host State at Tennessee because of those 2 road games of the bookends.
I would too, yeah. I mean,
That's where I went.
basically you just look for the G and you build 3 games around it.
When you're talking about an East team, you do.
If the G's on the schedule, you look for the G and then build it out from there. Georgia, Mississippi State, Tennessee. Give me another one.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, hotty toddy. This is going to be look for the A, I think.
You're going to find Alabama and work out from
And
there.
then build it
I do
around
think
that.
Ole Miss is 4-0 going into the Alabama game. Now, that's not a huge, or 3-0, excuse me. That's not a huge statement based on who they play early. That Tulane game is tricky, though, on the road at Yeoman Stadium in New Orleans.
I mean, depending on what Texas A&M is, if Texas A&M is this year's LSU, I would go that Texas-Georgia pairing, but Alabama, LSU, Arkansas is the way I would go here.
Good news for them, though, is they get LSU and Arkansas at home.
Yeah.
Very, very early Magnolia Bowl. We pointed that out last week. Mincy actually pointed out to us that LSU game in September, that has not happened in a very, very long time.
Ole Miss, Arkansas has had some tremendous games recently, and I just think LSU is going to be a next-level team along with Alabama and Georgia. So, to me, that was the 3-game stretch, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. And then finally, I know we don't have the graphic, but this is kind of funny that we don't have the graphic because Arkansas has 2 3-game stretches.
Oh, wow. Oh, but look, we don't have a graphic, but we do have a schedule.
Scott's not
So
going to
you
miss.
give me the 2 different.
Was it me or the fans that give you a hard time about not having a cool graphic last time?
It was you.
That was you.
Yeah.
It was me?
Oh, yeah.
God, what a
The one program I really wanted to talk about was Arkansas, but that's fine.
Oh,
That's
we got
fine. That's fine.
right. Scott,
The whole point of this segment was Arkansas.
what a crappy human being I must be. Hard to work with.
Lance, I'm going to go with.
It's LSU, Texas. It's LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. No,
Well, I mean,
Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama. Is it right? But
You think-
you got multiples.
what do
you're
you
saying.
think, BYU or Ole Miss is going to be better?
Oh, I think Ole Miss is going to be better.
Okay, so I will go at LSU, neutral site A&M, at Ole Miss. But then I think the next three, you can make an argument for those as well. At Alabama, host State, bye week, and at Florida. I mean, that's technically a six-game
I
stretch.
combined this. So I did either at LSU, A&M, and at Ole Miss, or start with Ole Miss, at Alabama, Mississippi State.
Yeah, to me, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss is tougher than Ole Miss, Alabama,
Yeah,
Mississippi State.
that's the way I had it.
Yeah. But if you go BYU, LSU, Texas A&M,
That's brutal, too.
that's brutal as well.
And
I
then
mean, a lot
Alabama
of them
State and at Florida.
could fall out on Sam Pittman here.
And, you know, it did seem like when the year ended last year, Arkansas fans were not as in love with him as they were. I mean, at SEC Media Days when we were in Atlanta last year, I mean, the guy he's very nice, and it just seemed like every Hog fan was just in love with the guy, and it felt like it wore out a little bit as the year went on.
Well, I think what happened is they exceeded expectations in his first 2 years. I think they like the folksy Sam Pittman, a guy that doesn't care what he's getting paid, doesn't seem like he would ever look for another job. But when you lose both your coordinators in Kendall Briles and Barry Odom, and it seemed like something was off with that program at the end.
Thanks for watching our video. We really appreciate it. Would you do a couple more things for us, please? Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you set your alerts so you know when we're live, and always give us that thumbs up.